Shalom, you homies. I'm here with the train and the birds and my bean juice and my thistle friends. The beautiful, magnificent thistle. One of God's perfect creations. God does not make mistakes. But humans refer to this beautiful creation of God as a weed. I'm pretty sure God doesn't believe in the concept of weeds because the way we define a weed is something that's not wanted. Well, God wants everything because that is a creation of hers, because otherwise, why would God have created it in the first place, right? It exists because it is wanted by God. And then we come in and we impose our own preferences upon God's creation, and we, edit it. We eradicate things, we oppress things, we change things, we label things weeds. I have often felt like I have been regarded as a weed. So I relate to the thistle for many reasons. It's beautiful. Okay, and yes, I'm saying I'm beautiful because I'm a child of God. We are all beautiful. All of God's creation is beautiful. But it also, in addition to being beautiful, it has thorns, right? So, handle and approach this beauty with care. We all have thorns, don't we? We all have ways of protecting ourselves, and that's not a bad thing, unless we use those protections, those thorns, reactively rather than responsively. Okay, because sometimes people are approaching you with malintent, and that's a good time to stick it to them. Let them know that's not okay. Other times, people may be approaching you with complete and total innocence, but you may be projecting something from your past upon them and responding not from the lens of the present, but through the lens of the past, a distortion that causes you to lash out and hurt someone who really had no ill intent, right? So, thorns, we all got them, and they're blessings, okay? These thorns on this thistle protect it from deer that want to munch it and eat it and destroy it. Okay, and it needs to protect itself because it holds precious nectar that feeds the butterflies and the bees and the birds. It gives them energy and vitality and life force to go out and pollinate other flowers and trees and make fruits and sustain life, right? So there's a reason and a purpose for these thorns, as well as the beautiful purple color that attracts the monarch, right? And it has deep roots, deep roots. So it holds on to the earth, it dives down and is able to access nutrients and minerals that other plants can't get to, and it brings it up and it stores it in its leaves, and when those leaves fall, the minerals and nutrients are released to other more shallow rooted plants, right? So it's a bringer of nutrients. Okay, I relate to this because as a person who went through a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse, I really had to dig down deep, right? I had to hold on. There wasn't anybody up here just handing me water and nutrients on a shallow level, just giving me things. I had to go down inside of myself and access the wisdom and the knowledge and the truth that God put inside of me. Okay, so that's how I see myself, as being deep rooted. And weeds often are, because weeds are the thing that they pop up in a degraded environment oftentimes, because they are able to access and find the very scant nutrients that are available and hard to get to. People who face a lot of hardships develop that quality, a resilience, an adaptability. So I relate to all of that. And also, in the right dose, this plant is medicinal. It heals the liver. It heals the gallbladder. So it's a purifier in the right dosage. But too much of it can actually bring death. Okay, I relate to that as well. Because the qualities that God has given me, one of which is a very sharp tongue and a sharp, quick mind. I can use that to serve my ego and hurt people. So in that way, it could be deadly. Or I can use it in service of life carefully, and it can be medicine. I can use my words and my wisdom and my knowledge and my truth that God has given me. Craft all of that very carefully to deliver it as medicine for people. So it's all about intent and how you approach a thing, whether or not it is harmful or helpful. That's true of all of God's creations, right? So, also the petals of this bloom are plumed. Okay, they're like little feathers. And when this thing goes to seed, all of these become seeds, and they float away like feathers on the wind. Right? That's very angelic and heavenly, and I aspire to that, to be that, to be Christ-like, to be holy, to be godly. But also I still have this sword here that has sharp edges, right? To protect this. So, yes, I very much relate to the thistle. And the poem that I wrote is, the title is Holy, Blessed, Christ-like Asteraceae. That Asteraceae is the family that the thistle is in. It's kin to sunflowers too. That's the same family. So I believe it's Christ-like, and I'm saying, oh, I identify with the thistle and I think it's Christ-like, so I'm calling myself Christ-like. Well, I aspire to that. I aspire to be like Christ. And I respect Christ. And Christ is resilient. And Christ is medicinal. And Christ can be deadly to the ego, right? Which is a good kind of death. And Christ was full of wisdom, and Christ will deliver wisdom to you as a result of having you dive down deep with your roots. So Christ is very much like a thistle, regarded as a weed, as an unwanted person, because he brought the truth, he brought the medicine, the light that got in the way of the lie that was trying to spread like a plague through the church, through religion, through politics, and it was, and that's why he was murdered. And that's why farmers come in and they eradicate the thistle, because it gets in the way of them growing their monocrop of corn. Right? And then in doing that, they mess up the whole ecosystem and the whole balance, because this beautiful, magnificent creation of God right here, with the thorns that we don't want, provides food for the birds, for the bees. The plumed petals that turn into seeds, feather-like seeds, becomes a downy material that the goldfinch uses for its nest. Okay? So it provides a habitat and a home for the goldfinch, and also the goldfinch feasts upon the seeds. It's one of its main sources of nutrients and food and calories. So of course God wanted to protect this gift, this abundance. And Christ delivers so many gifts to us, right? Unconditional love, wisdom, truth, guidance, bravery, resilience, courage, All Christ-like qualities. This plant embodies all of that for me. Grace, you know, this is an embodiment of grace. It thrives under pressure beautifully. So I don't believe in the concept of weeds. That's a man-made concept. I guess many of our concepts are man-made. But are they godly? I don't think the concept of a weed is godly, because God would not have made this plant if it didn't serve a purpose. Obviously it does, or it wouldn't exist. Now, who are we to come in and say we know better than God? We're people that make problems for ourselves. That's who we are. Look around us. And we like to pat ourselves on the back when we solve the problems that we've created. And then in solving that problem in the way that we have, we create 10 more down the road. And then we get to pat ourselves on the back 10 times more. And that goes on exponentially. And that makes us a genius in our own eyes, right? Wow, we are confused. And we can learn a lot just by studying God's creation, right? It will bring us clarity. It can purify our hearts and our minds. Observation of nature can do that, just like the thistle can purify the liver. So, God does not make mistakes. So remember that next time you're being hard on yourself and you are comparing yourself to someone else. God made you on purpose. You are unique. There's no one like you. So you can only hurt yourself and others when you start comparing yourselves to others. It's an act of violence. It's an act of disrespect to your creator and to yourself and to life. Life goes on because of resilience. It is because of our unique strengths and unique weaknesses that this all works. Because where I fall short, you step up, and vice versa. We all need one another, and we've been lied to about that for the sake of dividing us and for the sake of destroying us from the inside. We destroy each other by being set against one another. And one of the ways that happens is we've been taught to compare ourselves to others. Okay. And when you compare yourself to another, what will happen is most likely you'll be taught, like we're taught to laud and to worship celebrities. We're told that this is the perfect woman or the perfect man, and we should all compare ourselves constantly to these people and try to be like them. And in any way that we fall short, we are a failure. So then we come to hate ourselves, all of us do. And we walk around life comparing ourselves to everyone else, right? And what happens naturally is as a result of that is that you will pedestalize someone, you will idealize that person, but at the same time, a deep-seated contempt will begin to grow in your heart for that person, because you will associate them with the feeling of not being good enough. Because you want to be that thing that they are, seemingly, that you are not. And so every time you see them in what you believe is their glory and their greatness, it's a reminder to you that you're not great and you're not glorious. So then a hatred for them grows. And the person that you once worshiped becomes the person you want to destroy, because you need to destroy the evidence that you aren't great. Right? Because you are great and you know that deep down, but you've been lied to. So there's this confusion happening. Like, you know you're great, so this person must be the lie because they're making you feel like you're not great. Well, no, what's gone on is you've become identified with a lie, an ego. Right? So, as children of God, we are meant to destroy the lie. Right? But the lie is that any of us are wrong, or any of us need to be different. That's the lie. The truth is that we are all perfect creations of God, and that we should never compare ourselves to others. It's an act of violence. It's an act of disrespect. It's a way of serving a lie. So let's not tear each other down. Let's not tear ourselves down. Let's build one another up. Let's realize that our lives are intrinsically meaningful and purposeful, and that we all have a destiny. And perhaps reflection upon and observation of nature can help you discover what that is. Because we're all one life. I guarantee you there is an animal and a plant and an insect and a force of nature that you are like. Okay. So just observe, study God's creation, and approach it with respect and with awe, because it is magnificent. And you are that. So please remember that. And yeah, I'm going to continue this exercise of writing poems to my favorite plants and animals. It felt really nice. Yeah. Holy, blessed, Christ-like Asteraceae.